Hello again and welcome to Season Wire, the platform where we speak truth to power. We're very busy today trying to cover a whole range of areas. And one of the things you will find that's a running theme through what we're saying is there is key information that collectively, when we exercise the information using our sovereignty and participating in our governance, we will be able to get infrastructures in our community because it becomes a transparent process. And that is what we must advocate for, and that is what I am advocating for on Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. As ever, and don't forget, subscribe. The little thing on my side here is telling you please subscribe, CC subscribe, and then hit notification button, and of course, help us grow the platform. Now, this broadcast is courtesy of credit to Refresh Nigeria. They're doing a fantastic work. The work they're doing is awesome. It is awesome. They're doing a lot of research, very much like I'm doing as well. I do a lot of research on different areas. But what is increasingly obvious to us is this: they do the research and they try to. Many people try to do it and they try and sort of use that to say, okay, the government will do this. Will have to be compelled to do what is right because of just the actions of a few. It won't work. That's where we differ. I 100% support what they're doing, and I'm going to play the video in its entirety. But I want you to be conscious and aware of the information that I put next to Refresh Nigeria on the screen. And that information is something that even Refresh Nigeria and all of us must be aware of. We need to raise awareness about that to begin to activate our people to wake up and exercise their sovereignty in over 774 local government areas, because it is in exercising our sovereignty. As I said, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. And of course, again, section 2 of it, section 14(2)(c) states the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. These are two things that everybody in all our community must begin to take hold of, because we need to collectively exercise. The key word is to collectively, in each local government area, all over 774 local government areas, collectively come together to begin to exercise the powers of sovereignty, to use it to participate in our governance, question those we elect to office by the fact that we are the sovereigns. And our role as sovereigns is to monitor the actions of our government critically, collectively. So while some of us are doing individual work, that's why we need to change that mindset. It has to be a collective effort, recognizing that all of us are sovereigns. We don't know. As I speak to you, millions are not aware that we are sovereigns. And these are words that we must share. So as you're watching this video, I urge you, share, subscribe, hit notification buttons. Let it reach more. We need this to reach as many people as possible. Very, very important. So to that end, now let us listen to Refresh Nigeria. A lot of the information that they're saying here is absolutely valid. It's on point. Everything they're saying, there's nothing wrong with. And I support it wholeheartedly. What needs to happen is that we must all become actively engaged in participating in our governance through questioning. Our role as citizens, because we are sovereigns, we can question our governance. We have that power, but we must do it collectively, because we are collectively sovereigns. Now let us watch Refresh Nigeria. Now let's go ahead. We'll see the comment.
So yesterday we're trying to compile a list, the list of emails and phone numbers of all the major oil marketers, so that we can send an email to them to give us feedback on whether or not they received fuel subsidy from 2016 till 2023. As I was preparing that list, the list was ready. In fact, we have drafted the email, just about sending the email, when I got a message from a friend of mine. And when I opened the message, what I saw really shocked me and annoyed me. Because when we're talking about the fact that there was no need for this whole fuel subsidy removal in the first place, many people were calling us all kinds of names. And if you go into the mainstream media space, what you hear is people, so-called oil and gas experts that appear to be paid to come and start talking about how fuel subsidy was unbearable for government to bear, that government could no longer sustain it. And in fact, every time I heard this, I was always annoyed, because from the documents that we obtained about the DSDP arrangement, we knew, and that was when we came out and said that there was no fuel subsidy payment, and that NNPC had not paid any sub.
These are so important information, and we need, literally, every one of us have got to be doing this in our community. The amount of corruption that is taking place in our communities on a daily basis is such that it now requires collective effort using the powers of sovereignty to begin to address those issues. Because when we collectively begin to question our government, hold it into account, it now makes the process a transparent process. It becomes virtually impossible for corruption to take place, because we are all exercising the powers of sovereignty, and through the participation, of course, exercising again, monitoring. Our role is to monitor the government. It makes it difficult for them to hide funds. They don't want us to question them, but that is what our role is as sovereigns. I want you to understand that, allied to what he's saying. But let's carry on.
Subsidy to anybody. Yet, the Tinubu administration kept insisting that subsidy had to go. And we kept insisting, if there was no fuel subsidy in the first place, if the whole fuel subsidy regime was a fraud, what is the whole point of increasing the pump price of fuel to deal with a fuel subsidy that was a fraud? What is the point? If the fuel subsidy did not exist in the first place, and some people were collecting money in the name of fuel subsidy, and they were coming out openly, according to what the former governor of Bauchi State said, they were coming out in the Aso Rock Villa to meet President Buhari to say that they were tired of making money, of stealing Nigeria's money, that he should remove fuel subsidy. If they knew that the fuel subsidy did not exist, and people were just raising invoices.
You see, the fact that they're saying that they were tired of stealing and everything else, they know that they're doing something wrong, but they're playing a game with you. Look, we're trying to be good. They're trying to play a game. They're playing with your mind. But if we were all participating in our governance, monitoring them, that is our role. In every local government area, we must collectively be monitoring what they're doing, as stated under that section 14.2a. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Using 14.2c, of course, the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. The provisions they're talking about is that we are sovereigns. As sovereigns, our role is indeed to monitor. It shouldn't be for one or two people to say, oh, we told the government to stop. No, we the people, that is our job. We're not leaving it to a few people to do. And until we begin to do that locally, collectively, in every local government area, corruption will continue. And it is in participating, again, I'll reiterate, participating collectively, monitoring them, it now makes the process transparent. It's like we're shining a light. There will be nowhere for them to carry out corruption. Let us proceed.
Is to collect fuel subsidy. If they knew that that was the case, how is increasing the pump price of petrol to make life difficult for average Nigerians? How is that fuel subsidy removal? When what should have been done would have been to go after those that were collecting the fuel subsidy fraudulently to return the monies that they have collected. That would.
But this is the thing. They will not return that money because there has been no transparent process. You see, that's what I really want to get you to understand, all of us. Excuse me. Okay. Now I want you to understand something. I want us to really understand something. You see, a crook will not volunteer his loot. A crook will not volunteer his loot. But when all of this is done in public, where we are participating, using the powers within the Constitution as sovereigns to monitor, because our role, again, I keep saying, our role as citizens is to monitor our government, not to be bystanders. We have been bystanders for over 24 years. Our role is to monitor them. So it's not going to be one of them coming, oh, we told the government. No. Our role is monitoring the government to give us account of where they're spending the money, and indeed to direct where they're spending the money if we deem it inappropriate, again, collectively. But all of this has to be done as a transparent process in the open. So in that process, it's important to understand when they're saying, oh, we told the government to stop, they are trying to tell you we're trying to do good, but the government is not helping. No, the role of the government is to try and do what they say. Our role is to monitor them. And unless we do, that is the role that is missing in the entire process. Without us actively on a daily basis monitoring our governance, questioning them on where the funds are going, they will continue to loot. Our role is essential. We need to teach. This is what we should be teaching to our children from the young, so that they know that their role is participating in governance, monitoring their governance. It makes it impossible when the government is being monitored by all sections of the community, and from the local government down to right up to federal, having to give account. It makes it impossible for them to be able to carry out corruption, because it is everybody is all involved for our own collective benefit as a whole. That is what we're trying to say here. And let's carry on.
Have been the solution, but we're not looking in that direction. I was determined to make sure that we got to the bottom of it and exposed everybody that was involved in the fuel subsidy regime. We have done a list, a compilation of their contact email addresses, and then their phone numbers. So we're going to call and also send them an email. And if they don't respond to the email, we also did a compilation of their addresses. We're going to send them hard copy letters, after which we're going to take them to court, because we wanted to get to the bottom of it. So what did we do? Right at the point where we're about to send the emails was when I got this message about a probe by the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating the subsidy regime payments from 2013.
Right. Okay. Now, this is very important. Pay attention. The very people who are doing this probe, the House of Reps, the senators, doing all this probe, you need to be monitoring their actions. And you have the powers as sovereigns to monitor it. They need to be telling you what they are doing in the National Assembly, the State Assembly, on a monthly basis. You need to be monitoring. You have to be demanding that you have to set up a monthly town hall meeting with many people in the local government area coming to that meeting, reminding those who are at the meeting at the outset that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority, so that they know that you are sovereign. This has to be something you have to be doing on a monthly basis at every town hall meeting. You must set up a town hall meeting to begin to monitor on a daily basis what they're doing. So you call them to town hall meeting once a month, and then you're monitoring the amount of money coming into your local government area, having meetings, discussions, telling them to give you specific details of where the funds are going. And it is your right to monitor them as a sovereign. It is your right. This is what not one or two of us must do. It is a collective effort. That is how those roads you want in your community will be built. That is how the schools in your community will be maintained. That is how the hospitals in your community will be maintained, through active and consistent collective participation in our governance. Let's carry on.
To 2022 has said that the profiles of 23 oil companies trading in Nigeria are not known, according to data from the Corporate Affairs Commission. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Mustafa Ibrahim Aliyu, at the resumed hearing of the committee with a couple of oil companies in attendance to explain their role, in the deal with the Nigeria National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, said that they have serious questions to answer. Aliyu, who read the list containing the names of the individual companies, explains that a communication from the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, on the request of the committee came back without any information on the affected companies. At the bottom of that document was a...
Right. So the point I'm trying to make here is that, you see, all of that, Honorable Aliyu and everybody else, they do have questions to answer to you. Because how come they left everything this late? How come? But it's because we are not doing this particular thing I keep reiterating, which is to participate in our governance through monitoring them. Our role is to monitor them. Because if we are monitoring them and they're having to give us answers and face questions about the funding and what they're doing, and reminding them, we have to keep reminding them that we are sovereigns. They conveniently forget that we, the people, are the sovereigns. And our role is to remind them, because when you remind them that we are collectively sovereigns, it impacts their actions. It impacts whether or not they're going to lose, because they know that, oh, we are sovereign. The people are sovereign. They know their powers. We cannot cheat these people. But when they silence you and you remain quiet, and then they tell you where the government and whatever we decide is what happens, they've taken away power by doing that. That's what they've done. They've taken away power from the people who are the sovereigns. You and I, we need to participate in that process. Not in any way, shape, or form am I belittling the actions of Refresh Nigeria, which is wholesome, fantastic. It's sharing information. But at the root of the problem is a foundational problem that we have never collectively addressed. And that is that we, the people, through bad governance and through the process of where the government has actually enforced us to either be Christians or Muslims from young age, we've been indoctrinated. We have been indoctrinated to always seek solutions to our problems from the religions of either Christianity or Islam. Thus preventing us from actually understanding that the real information we needed has always been, for over 24 years, the information before you, which is for us to know that we're sovereigns and we have the power to hold our government to account. They never wanted us to know this. This is information that they don't ever... I don't think you will have had anybody in 24 years talked about openly. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Talked about it in such a way to encourage people to know that you are sovereigns. I don't think you'll have had it anywhere. Even as I speak, we haven't had it spoken about in such terms. And that's why we're doing this on this platform. The other thing I want you to understand is they haven't also talked about the fact that the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured with the provisions of this constitution. And one of the constitution provisions, in fact, the most important one, is that you are a sovereign. As a sovereign, you have powers that you must use. Those powers confers the right for you to monitor your government. And that is what we are trying to do here. So the work being done by Refresh Nigeria is awesome. But what we need above all now is for every community to be aware of the sovereignty, the power of sovereignty that we in every local government area possess, and how to use it to support the work of the likes of Refresh Nigeria. We need to support that work. That's what I'm saying. It's not good enough to just say, oh, he's great. Support the Refresh Nigeria has done good. What are we going to do collectively in our community with the information shared by Refresh Nigeria or Mayegun? What are we doing with the information that is being presented by great people who are talking about the problems? What are we doing? It is no longer acceptable for us to go, oh, he said it. That was Michael said it. Refresh said it. That one, bad governance. No. The information I'm sharing with you here, what I'm showing you on the screen, it says, and you need to take ownership of it. We need to retrain our mind. We've been indoctrinated in religions. That's why many of us will quote the Bible or the Quran off it. We will say it. But when it comes to the most important piece of information that allows us to monitor our government and hold them to account and remind them to whom they are to serve, that they're serving us, we don't know it. In all our communities, we don't know it. That must change. Please join Citizen AY in this struggle. Share this broadcast. We are bringing the powers of the people back to the people, giving it to the people to be able to use it. Not to confront the government in an attacking manner, but to remind the government that they are serving us, the people. And every time they remember that, it will inform their actions on the National Assembly, in the State of Assembly, in the carrying out of their duties. They are reminded that the people are the sovereigns and they have to provide. They have to ensure they meet the demands of the people. Not to silence the people, because what they're doing now is they're silencing us and telling us what they want rather than listening to what the people want, because we are not participating in our governance. We need to be doing that on a daily basis in all over 774 local government areas. Again, kudos to the work of Refresh Nigeria and what they're doing, but we have to be all, part of this process. We need to be actively participating in our governance, watching them left, right, and center collectively. Without that, nothing will change. The subsidy scam will continue, even with the revelations by Refresh Nigeria and others. Let's carry on.
Statement that was shocking to me and annoying to me. So when I said that there was no fuel subsidy and all the evidences came out to corroborate that fact, that there was no fuel subsidy in the first place and that there was no need to increase any pump price of petrol, because even with the old price of 185, 195 naira per litre, NNPC was already making a profit of over 100 naira per litre. At 195, NNPC was making a profit of over 100 naira per litre. The studies are there, the empirical data are there. In the document that was done.
Now, many of you will not be participating in this. You just say, oh, they're told the government, they should know better. But the powers, and this is not about blaming. We have been conditioned, we have been indoctrinated. What you are doing as a religion is an indoctrination. You need to understand this. What you are doing when you are carrying that Bible, look at Emefiele. Look at Emefiele. There's a picture I'm going to show you. Yes, in fact, I'm glad I mentioned that now, because I need you to really understand what is being done. Look at Emefiele, because then you need to understand what is being done here. And hopefully, we can put a stop to this together collectively. Because what they do, they know the Bible and the Quran means nothing. It's not from, look, let me tell you, the Bible and the Quran, as far as we Africans are concerned, it means nothing. It is not from our land. The Arabs, it is born, that's something that their ancestors created. The Europeans created the Bible for them and they use it. So, we as Africans using those things, it is not part of our belief system of our ancestors. Many of those people who you call politicians, they say they are Christian or Muslim. They swear on the Bible, swear on the Quran, because they know that nothing they say or do, and if they swear on that, it has no impact on their lives. They can steal and it will not change anything because it has no force on them. But let them go and swear on Ogun or on our ancestral belief, and let us see what happens. Let me show you what I mean. Because I think it is important to understand this. Because we are not really, switching on to things. And this is what I want to do. That is why I'm saying we need to understand that what we call religion, we've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed by our own government to take one religion or the other. And so much so that we've ignored the real important document, which is the Constitution. That Constitution has more powers than any Quran or any Bible. It is binding on us as citizens. And the powers that we have in it are sovereignty. Because we've been so conditioned to believe in Christianity and Islam, we have been blinded to the fact that we are sovereigns. We've been blinded to it. Time to wake up. So let me just show you this now. Because it's important to bring this up in discussions, and please do share this podcast, because we really need to open our eyes from the lies and the what you call a religion is actually a routine. To be honest with you, it's a routine. It's a few words, somebody repeating it over and over. It's a routine. It's called the Europeans, the Berlin Conference people called it the quotidian. So when you do something over and over, it becomes a routine, and then they tell you it's a religion, so you take it on. As it be it Christian, be it Islam, it is only a routine, not a religion, and it occupies your mind, and it becomes real in your mind. But that realness of it is actually weakening you from taking the steps you need to take collectively to get the infrastructure you need in your community. And that's why we're here, to break this down for you to really understand. Right, let's let me just do this for you quickly. 1 minute. So you will see it come up in a minute. Okay, so now I think we've got that now. You will see it come up. I'm gonna quickly, because I need you to really understand what has been done here. You know, they are all, you know, they swear on the Bible and everything else, but it is not from our climes. It is not of us. It is not of us. So they can swear on the Bible all they want, because they know that it will not have any impact. They are not going to die as a result of doing that. They're not, because it's not something to. So you see, so that's Emefiele there. He's holding on to the Bible. I'm telling you that the Bible has no constitutional powers in our land. I'm telling you that the Quran has no constitutional powers in our land. Yet millions of people are holding on to this as though their lives depend on it, because they've been conditioned since the age of 4 to either support Christianity or Islam. It's brainwashing. Time to wake up. They have no constitutional powers whatsoever. The supreme constitutional powers that you possess, you've been so blinded by the religion of Islam and Christianity that you don't even know that you're a sovereign. It says so. I'm reading it to you. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. The Bible doesn't make you a sovereign in Nigeria. The Quran doesn't make you a sovereign in Nigeria. They don't even know about Nigeria. But you are believing in something that doesn't know about the name Nigeria. The constitution tells you about Nigeria. That should be your focus. We want you to wake up, to begin to take control. You have the powers to hold your government to account, to monitor their actions using the same constitution, but you're not aware. We are waking you up. Sorry about this. The wind is just there. We are waking you up to the powers you possess, because the coming generation depends on your actions. Collective action. Collective action. Let's just keep an eye. Listen, look at that. These people loot, and they're holding the Bible. What does that say about your Bible? And they will hold the Quran. What does that say about the Bible and the Quran when the people who are looting, printing money, whatever, they know it means it has no powers? Tell them to go and swear on Ogun or on the belief from their own indigenous place. They will run a mile because they know that the game is up. Let's listen on.
That was presented by Dr. Agbon. It was stated there clearly. But since nobody will believe, since mainstream media will not believe, and the Tinubu administration kept pretending as if there was a fuel subsidy that they removed, we continued, only to find that the House of Representatives had set up an ad hoc committee to investigate this whole DSDP arrangement of the NNPC, and they had investigated this subsidy regime, and they came to some conclusions. And part of it is this annoying one that I will read to you right now, that Tinubu was made aware of, that Buhari was made aware of, yet they still went ahead to dance to the tune of the World Bank and IMF to increase pump price of petrol, to private.
Now, let me come in there. Again, I'm going to come in there. Again, everything is saying is absolutely right and is on point to bring it to our attention. But because we were not aware of the powers of sovereignty to intervene in that process, to call them to account on a regular basis, we need to be having monthly meetings, monthly town hall meetings with every local government chairman, state house of assembly members, house of reps, senators. They have to be seated at a meeting, and we have to keep reminding them of the sovereignty that we possess as people. We have to, from here on, if we want to make any change, we need to be doing that. Because we weren't able to participate in that, then the government could do whatever they want. They can ignore anything because they know that we, the people, were not monitoring them, which is our role. Our role is to monitor them. according to the Constitution. We need to participate. We are the sovereign, and as sovereigns, the powers to monitor the government is ours. But they hid this from us. They give you the Bible, they give you the Quran, and they are giving you, the system is making sure, notice that it's holding a very big Bible so that you make no mistake whatsoever that that Bible is what is counting on. They want you to psychologically connect to that and just, oh yes, oh see, he now is praying, I'm going to pray to the Bible. Bible means nothing. Tell them to go and swear on Ogun. They will run a mile because they know if they swear on Ogun, boom, it will happen. That is what is connected to us as Africans. End of story. Again, what Refresh Nigeria is doing here is spot on. But I'm trying to tell you that because we are not actively participating in our governance through monitoring their actions, they do as they please. That must stop. Let's carry on.
To devalue Nigeria's naira, to increase the school fees of university and unity schools in the name of signing the student loan bill, to privatize Nigerian company in the name of signing electricity bill. They were just doing all manner of policies to play and dance to the tune of the IMF and the World Bank.
Right. Again, you possess powers. You're a sovereign. Unless we collectively begin to exercise our sovereignty and begin to hold those we elect into office to account, this will sadly continue. We need to reset our mindset. These powers must become the most important information that we have close to our heart, because the Bible confers no constitutional rights on you in your nation. The Quran confers no constitutional rights on you as in your nation as a self-citizen. The only document that confers constitutional rights and powers on you of sovereignty is the Constitution. But many of you don't know. So you cannot exercise the participation. You are not able to exercise that participation that I've been talking about. You haven't been able to until now. Now, you need to use those powers. If we do not begin to do this, we need to have groups of people collectively in every community beginning to share this information, making everybody know we are sovereigns. Because it is in knowing that we are collectively sovereigns and reminding those we elect to office that we are the sovereigns from whom they derive the powers and authority that they use to govern us. And they have to listen to our concerns. They have to answer our questions about the funding issues, because we are the sovereigns and they are serving the people. If we do not start doing that, nothing will change. It's really important to understand that. So those of you watching this, as you're watching it, share it to all your family and friends. This is a game changer. The information I'm telling you now is a game changer. Used properly, collectively, this is a game changer that can actually improve the lives of millions of people. It frees their mind from the beliefs, the lies of the religion that have been thrust into their hands. The lies of the religion of Islam and Christianity being the supreme power, and it's all lies. It's all lies. And the fact that it's holding on to that there is to try and trick you to believe that that's the power. But nowhere in the Bible or the Quran does it talk about you being a sovereign in your own land, except inside the Nigerian constitution, which we know is flawed and must be improved. And we need to then go to the point where a referendum clause is inserted. I hope you're following what is being said here. We're breaking this down, in a intricate detail for you to really understand that there is only one solution right now. That is our active and consistent participation in our governance on a daily basis. Our role is to monitor our governance. Without monitoring, they will do whatever they're doing. They will sign deals because they're not accountable to. Even though they're accountable to us, they know we're not taking that action to make them accountable to us. We have to make them accountable through our participation, starting from local government area. Every month, they need to come to meetings in all local government areas to be telling us what they're doing, where the funds are going, and we can instruct them where we want them to send the funds, where there's lack of infrastructure, and they have no choice but to do what we're doing and what we instructed them, because why? We are sovereigns. Let's listen on.
They still went ahead despite knowing what I'm going to read to you now. Look at it. Earlier, The committee quizzed representatives of Sahara Energy Resources Limited, Oando PLC, Hyde, and AA Rano, where they took turns to explain contract deals with the NNPC, saying they only lifted crude oil in the direct sale, direct purchase scheme and were not part of the subsidy payment. The oil marketers that were part of the DSDP arrangement, these companies I just mentioned, the Oando, AA Rano, Sahara Resources Limited, they were part of the DSDP arrangement. Now they have come out to say, oh, we only lifted crude oil to give to the refining component of their consortia. And then this consortia brought back refined petrol to give to NNPC, which NNPC now sold to them, that they were not part of any fuel subsidy payment. So what we were even going to send out emails for them to confirm to Nigeria, they have already confirmed to the House of Representatives ad hoc committee.
You see, again, great work by Refresh Nigeria. Again, but I need you to really understand that all that work by Refresh Nigeria is great, and it will help get some traction here and there. To a certain extent, people will talk. But we don't want you to just talk anymore now. We want you to exercise the powers you possess. You are a sovereign, collectively, in every local government area. That must be something we must do. I am so excited by this, personally, for our people to know their rights, because that is how we are going to improve the lives of our people, collectively. Taking collective action, using the powers of sovereignty to hold our governors to account, to monitor them, to compel them to fix the infrastructures. Because why? Collectively, we are sovereigns and we are monitoring them. We're instructing them where we want infrastructure put in, and we oversee their action. And we indeed, the president cannot go out and sign things that will impoverish their own people, because when we start exercising that sovereignty, it becomes a transparent process. They cannot do it. They are doing this in the secret and oppressing us. We are sovereigns according to that constitution, and we need to use those powers. That is what I'm trying to get at in all of this. The work, again, Refresh Nigeria is doing a fantastic work and doing a lot of exposés. But what we're trying to do is, exposés is only going so far. But our daily active participation in our governance, monitoring their actions, or holding them to account. For example, monthly accounts, monthly allocations, we need to be checking that every month. There should be meetings, there should be town hall meetings where we are finding out, we're talking to everybody in the community, this how much came out for monthly allocation in our local government area. We are telling the government that this road is bad. Do pictures, videos. This is a communal effort. Without that communal effort, using our powers of sovereignty, nothing is going to change. The government, those people in government will continue to lose. When you do that, you bring transparency. When the community are involved, you bring transparency. It becomes impossible for those in government to loot. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Let's carry on.
That they were not part of any subsidy payment. So, the House of Representatives already knew. The chairman of that House of Representatives, Honorable Mustafa Ibrahim Aliyu from Sokoto State, is still a member of the 10th National Assembly. He's still there. The whole National Assembly, they were aware that there was no fuel subsidy payment made. They were. Oando PL.
And that is what I am saying. And that they know. But because we are not doing what? Because we've been conditioned not to take part in our governance, to exercise the powers of participation, to be able to monitor them because of the sovereignty powers that we possess. They will continue to do this. I'm urging you to really rethink if the church and the mosque is really the focus of what you need, particularly now that you know that the church, the mosque, the Bible or the Quran does not confer any sovereignty to you. The Bible or the Quran does not confer any zero sovereignty to you as a citizen of Nigeria. Only the Constitution of Nigeria confers that on you and tells you that you are. Shouldn't we focus on that and use that collectively now? If we use that it takes away from our mind this idea of praying to somebody, praying. This praying to Allah, praying to Jesus is a distraction. Remember, Emefiele is holding on to this. This is all part of the government scheme plan. They want you to believe in something that's other than the constitution. They're not putting this. I am putting this in your face for you to wake up to know the powers you possess. But they are holding on to Bibles and Qurans and things to distract you from ever knowing the powers that you possess. You need to ally that to now the information provided by Refresh Nigeria now. We ally that together. Put it together. Begin to now use that in every local government area. We found out that this is what is happening. Give us an account. Where's the money? We are sovereigns. You must tell us where they are. We are instructing you. Those funds must be used. You demand for those things to happen. And when you do it collectively under a transparent process, they cannot hide it. Your participation ensures the transparency of the system of our governance. Your active and continued participation in our governance, as mandated under the Nigerian Constitution, ensures the transparency of governance. Without that, your governance will not be transparent. Without that, let's carry on.
C is headed by Wale Tinubu, Tinubu's nephew. Definitely, Tinubu is aware. From what the former governor of Bauchi said, Buhari is aware. So Buhari is aware, Tinubu is aware, and they still chose to increase the pump.
They are not going to make any changes. I'm sorry, do not be surprised. They are not going to make any changes because why? They are government. Our role is still left vacant. Our role as monitors of government has been vacant for 24 years. Our role as monitors of our governance has remained vacant for 24 years. Because if we were monitoring them, they wouldn't dare do it. That is why you must participate in your governance. If you do not participate, the Bible and going to the church and to the mosque, they're taking your mind away from ever holding them to account. That's why they go to the churches and they sit in the church and the high chair. Oh, my pastor. Oh, my God. Hey, this. It's all designed to take you away from holding them to account. From you ever knowing that you're sovereign. Again, let me put that there. See, he's holding the largest Bible possible. Why? Because psychologically, symbolically, they want you to connect that power is derived from those Bible. But the Bible doesn't confer constitutional powers of sovereignty on you. It doesn't. Neither does the Bible, Quran. The only document that does so is the Constitution. And the section of this Constitution, they don't ever want you to read to understand what it means and begin to use the powers. They don't want you. So go to the church all day long. It's now up to you. Now that I've given you this information, you're now free to decide yourself. Is it really the church that you need or the mosque? In this situation where knowing fully well that the sovereignty that you have is written within the Constitution, is it not time for you to scrutinize that Constitution, use these powers, share this information to as many people as possible, to awaken you all, to really free yourselves, free your community from the mental enslavement, the indoctrination? Is it not time? I think it is. I think you know the answer. I won't say yes or no. I'm going to leave that with you to think about. But I want you to have the screenshot of this powers that I put before you. You need to make sure that everybody in your community knows about these powers, because the Bible and the Quran does not confer any sovereignty on you, but this Constitution does. You need to take hold of that information, and it allows you to monitor. This Constitution allows you to monitor your government, and they have to answer you. But it is you reminding them on a monthly basis now, weekly basis, that we are the sovereigns, we employed you, you must answer the questions, because this is what the same Constitution that you're using to rule us tells you, that we are the sovereigns, you must comply with it. And we have to do it collectively, from one local government area to the next, collectively. Let's carry on.
Price of petrol in the name of fuel subsidy removal that did not exist. How wicked can a person be? How wicked can a government be? How wicked? Tinubu knew that.
I don't want you to focus on see, one of the things that we need to change in our mindset now, one of the things I want to change, and the Refresh United is doing a great job, and one of the things we need to change in our mind is when you get angry, you fume, then you say it, and they will never, and you, God this, that. They don't care. You can say, may God punish them, may God, because look, the God that you're praying to doesn't even recognize you as a person. They don't even know they don't even understand you, because you're not the same scholar as the God that you're as the people who create who that God is for. Plain fact, it isn't. They're not going to hear your prayers. And if you say to our own ancestors, to a certain extent, it may happen, but the thing is that you need to understand that those in government don't care, because they know that they have control, and they don't ever want you to know about the powers that you possess. Because when you start exercising those powers, they have nowhere to hide. So, the point I'm making here is this. Every community, we need a massive retraining of our society. I'm going to be doing, when I finish this broadcast, there will be a video that I'll be doing, expecting a video, where I am going to have the translation. This English translation will come out in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, and as many others I can find, so that every community in Nigeria can begin to know the powers that they have and begin to exercise that powers immediately. Because without exercising the powers and monitoring our government, they're doing as they please. And they're using the Bible to keep us from ever finding out that we are the ones to whom sovereignty belongs, and they're deriving the powers and authority from us. That's why he's holding the largest one. Do you think he's doing that alone? Do you think that Emefiele would have been holding that Bible on his own? This is part of a government plan. You need to think beyond look beyond what you're seeing alone and reason. They wouldn't allow him to hold that Bible if it wasn't for a reason. He's allowed to. It's all part of a scam. But unless we actively begin to participate in our governance, nothing will change. We are sovereigns. You need to know that. And we need to use the powers of sovereignty, i.e. monitoring them, holding them to account on a consistent basis in every local government area. Make sure you're a member of a local community association. Have a screenshot of this, the 14.2 and 42 in your local community association. Make sure all your friends and family has it. Make sure that you're all teaching this to your children from time they're growing up, because the churches and mosques are there to close their minds from knowing the powers that we possess as sovereigns. I'm just giving it to you straight. I'm giving it to you straight. Right, here we go.
There was no fuel subsidy made. Tinubu knew. APC knew. In fact, PDP knew. The members of these 10th NAS, they knew. They were the ones that conducted the ad hoc committee Senate hearing to approve fuel subsidy regime. They were the ones that conducted it.
You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They know. They know. And unless if you keep going, if you want to pray in the church and all that, that's up to you. If you still believe after watching this that the church is the answer, knowing fully well that the church has no constitutional powers, knowing fully well that the Quran has no constitutional powers, and knowing fully well that you are a sovereign and you've never exercised that sovereignty, and we're telling you how you can exercise the sovereignty collectively in your community. If you still want to do that, then of course it's your choice. But the impact of you sticking to the beliefs of Islam and Christianity is that you will continue to suffer in your community, and you'll be praying to a God that is not hearing your prayers. And the people who will loot, they will hold on to those Quran and Bible, knowing fully well that nothing will happen to them. Nothing will happen to them. They will get away with it. The only way you can put a stop to it is your active participation in your governance on a daily basis. And we have to teach each other how to do that, one local government area to the next. That is a task you must be involved in. When you get this podcast, share it, share, subscribe, hit notification button. We have a massive work to do to awaken 200 million people, because we've been put to sleep, not knowing that we're sovereigns. That's been hidden in plain sight for all of us. It's time to wake up. We need to collectively wake up. Now, let's play a bit more and hear what he's got to say here before I...
and came up with this conclusion, where they were told categorically by Sahara Energy Resources, Owando PLC, AA Rano, that they were only involved in lifting crude oil in the direct sale, direct purchase scheme, that they were not part of the fuel subsidy payment. These are the same major marketers whom NNPC claimed that they paid subsidy payment to. These same oil marketers have come to say that they did not receive fuel subsidy. They have come out to exonerate themselves. So if the marketers that are responsible for this DSTP arrangement say they did not receive fuel subsidy, who then did NNPC pay fuel subsidy to? Who then did?
Right. Again, our job is to monitor our governance. We are not doing it. We need to start doing it. We need to start doing it. The Bible, if somebody, when your oppressor is holding on to the same document as you believe in, start questioning that document. Did you hear me? When your oppressor is holding on to the same document that you believe in to support and get exonerate himself, you need to start questioning that document. Emefiele, we know what is done. He's holding on to the Bible, King James Bible version, written by Europeans. You think that he's afraid of what's in it, but that's what you're holding on to, and you think that you're a religion. It's a routine. What you need to do right now is to know that you're a sovereign, and we are telling you that you're a sovereign. You need to embrace that fact. You need to share it in your community. You need to begin to use it to empower your community to get what you require, infrastructures. You can participate in your governance by monitoring the actions of the government. You are mandated by the Constitution to participate in your government, and you have the powers of monitoring, questioning, demanding answers from them, instructing them where the funds are to be spent, because of the fact that why? Of what? You are a sovereign. We need to do this collectively. I will keep reiterating this point, and that's why I'm putting that. As I was talking, you see, I was circling this. If the government knows that we are participating in our governance on a daily basis, they won't do half of what they're doing. They won't pass 70 billion naira allowance for the National Assembly, because they know that we're not monitoring them. We're not holding them to account. Our participation as monitors of governance, because that's our role, will put a stop. It will bring transparency and will put a stop to corruption. That's what we need to believe firmly. Because why? We are sovereigns. Let's carry on.
The federal government paid those 4.2 trillion in 2022, the 3 trillion in 6 months of 2023, the 3 trillion of 2021, and the 1 trillion of 2020. Who did they pay those money?
These are questions that we in our community have the right of sovereignty, powers of sovereignty to question them. Again, the town hall meetings are very important. And I'm going to be having discussions with a group of people. I'm hoping we can do this to raise the awareness, because every community needs to know this information. Every month there has to be a town hall meeting where the State House of Assembly members, local government chairman, House of Reps and senators come to those meetings, and we remind them monthly who the sovereigns are. You and I, by the way. We remind them. We read it out, so they remember who the sovereigns are, and they are accountable to us, and we have the right to monitor them. We have the right to monitor their actions, because we are the sovereigns. They borrow the powers of authority. They derive powers of all the powers and authority from us. It says so. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority from you and I. And we have the powers of participation, monitoring their actions, holding them to account. We need to begin to hold them to account. When we do that, they will stop all of this nonsense they're doing. And more so, if they were to continue, it will tell us that we are justified in going for self-determination. So either way, it's going to put a stop to this. It's going to put a stop to it. But we must, without doubt, begin to actively participate in our governance. That is the only way forward.
Is to, and rather than go after the people who fraudulently collected those money, the Tinubu administration.
The government will not, again, the government will not go after those who have committed the fraud. They've gone after Emefiele, but it's all part of the plan. Do you think he's going to end up in jail? He's not. He's one of them. And what he knows will put many in the way as well. So they're going to cover their backs. It is when we, the people, begin to participate, hold them to account. Those who are elected now, you bring them to town hall meetings. You remind them who the sovereigns are. You begin to tell them that as citizens, as sovereigns, collectively, please, this has to be done collectively. We demand that the funds, the monthly allocation funds, be used in these areas. We are telling you where those funds are going to be spent, not you detecting. We are telling you because we no longer trust you, because we now see that you've been stealing, the money's been looted. That's what we need to begin to do. We need to participate in our governance collectively, using the powers of sovereignty that we have. The Bible and the Quran does not confer sovereignty powers on you. Only the Constitution does. Let's carry on.
Thought it best to punish Nigerians by increasing the price of petrol just to please the IMF and the World Bank, making Nigerians go through untold hardship.
And the reason why they're able to do that is because we are not participating in our governance. Because we have been bystanders. Many of us, every Sunday, every Friday, we go to mosque in our millions and we allow them to get away with the crime because we don't know that we're sovereigns. As sovereigns, our focus must be how to ensure that we monitor our government. Don't leave them to do it, because if you leave them to do it, they're going to fill their pockets just like they're doing. Our role is to monitor them collectively, consistently, regularly. Town hall meetings is a must. Using our sovereignty, reminding them that we're the sovereign powers from whom they derive the powers and authority that they're using to govern us. Let's carry on.
Untold hardship, unnecessary hardship. We demand justice. The price for the pump price of petrol must be returned back.
And to that end, that is what you can do. At town hall meetings, let's not make the work done by Refresh Nigeria be a fruitless task. Let us go and come together in all local government areas with this information, calling the State House of Assembly members, your local government chairman, State House of Assembly members, House of Reps, senators, calling them to town hall meetings, revealing this, playing this video to them, telling them, look, this is what you've done. We are sovereigns. We are telling you we demand for that to be fixed, for the prices to be reduced now. And we want the refineries fixed, Operation Fix the Foreign Refineries that I spoke about on Citizen NY. We compel the State House of Assembly members and the National Assembly members to pass a law that will compel the federal government to fix the refineries of Nigeria within a 4-week period. Because why? We are sovereigns. We have those powers. Until we use those powers consistently, regularly, unless and until we use that, those in government will continue to carry out this illegal act. And we need to stand together and be very, very clear. There's going to be some resistance. They will try to break us because they are afraid of us exercising those powers. But we need to be resolved in our mind to know that this is for the coming generation. We need to work together in our community. And when the more of us that work together, the weaker the powers of threats that they will have. We need to be very, very clear about that. I'm not hiding this. They will come at us because they know that once that starts happening on a regular basis all over Nigeria, their avenue to loot will stop. That is the power you possess as a sovereign. You can monitor your government. You can hold them to account. You can question them. You can direct where they're going to spend the funds, and you can make sure that they come back and give you updates as where the funds are, what they've done, and you can check. And if you're not happy with what they've done, you can compel them. No, we're not happy. Why? And make them accountable and make them actually carry out the roles of governance, because we are monitoring them left, right, and center. Without that monitoring, nothing will change. That's our role. Our role as sovereign is to monitor our government, compel them to do what is required, because the fact that we are sovereigns. It states so. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Here we go.
To 195 naira, at which price the NNPC was already making 100 naira profit. It must be returned. to reduce and reverse the inflation. If the Tinubu administration...
So they want to do that, right? They are not going to do that by just you saying that, by just one person saying it. They won't. And that's the point. They're not. I want you to know, I want you to begin to believe in the power of the community and our sovereignty. The power of our collective sovereignty. Believe in the power of our collective sovereignty. Begin to exercise that from one local government area to the next collectively. Come together, ensure you all are aware you have these powers written down on, put it on your phones, in your local community association. Teach it in schools, private, primary, secondary, and university and beyond. Make sure we are aware. We need to retrain our minds. We have to. That is the only way out of this situation. We must participate in the process. Without us participating, they will keep doing this. It's holding the Bible, making you believe, oh, go and get the Bible. Many people hold on to the Bible. Oh, yes, because they're lying to you. The Bible has no constitutional powers over Nigeria. The Quran has no constitutional powers over Nigeria. They don't confer the rights of sovereignty to you as a citizen. But yet you believe in the Bible and the Quran more than your Bible, and more than the Quran, and more than the Constitution. More than the Constitution. You need to make sure that Constitution is something that you guys hold on to and explain and tell those in power that that's what it is. You are a sovereign according to the Constitution. They cannot argue with you. They cannot argue with you. But you must do it collectively. Collectively. There's work to do in our communities. There is work to do in our communities. There is work to do in our community to raise the awareness. Are you ready to join us in this struggle? Are you ready to make the work happen? Start teaching the people. Those of you watching, if you're watching it, if you share it to 100 people already, share it to another 100. Because that is the only way we're going to break the back of this injustice. It's through collective and consistent active participation of the people in the government. Don't forget that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all these powers and authority. We need to keep reminding them that. And we must monitor their actions, because that is our role as citizens and as sovereigns. Our role as sovereigns is to monitor our governance. Without that monitoring, they will continue to loot.
Has any iota of humanity left in them, they should revert it and rather go after the...
They are not going to do that. They don't have humanity in them, because they know that the people are not going to hold them to account. They don't have to. They don't have to. But that's where you need to prove them wrong. Start participating in your governance. Start participating. When everybody in all central local government areas, not a protest, you don't need a protest. You're calling them to town hall meetings and you're telling them this is what is wrong. You don't need a protest. A protest is just a waste of time. You need to exercise your powers of sovereignty. They don't want you to know you're a sovereign. Because once you are a sovereign, when they do something wrong, they know that you're going to call them and make them to account. They don't want you to know. We are giving you this information for free. The least you can do is to share this broadcast. Awaken millions of minds. The time has come now for us to wake up. We must wake up.
People that have fraudulently collected these so-called fuel subsidy payments. So the Tinubu administration, if you have any humanity left in you, if you're not just wicked and just enjoying the suffering that you have brought upon Nigerians unnecessarily, then you should revert the price of petrol back to the original 195 and go after these rogues that were collecting money for subsidy payment for fuel that never existed.
So that was a Refresh Nigeria.
For subsidy payment for fuel that never existed.
So that was Refresh Nigeria. I don't know how you found the information. I don't. Your thoughts on what it said. Everything Refresh Nigeria has said now is very, very clear, and it's very good information. And it's really very, very important for us to know that information. But I'm giving you proper context now. It's one thing to have the information about people looting and everything else. But when we, the people, don't even know the strength that we have, we can't do anything. And that's why we need you to share this broadcast. You are watching me, you are a sovereign. Let your fellow sovereigns know the powers they possess. Now, when you all stand together as sovereigns in each of the local government areas, you can now begin to participate in your governance. You need to be doing this monthly and daily. You need to participate. Look at areas, all concerns, and you stand together. Make sure you have a copy of these powers, the section 14.2 and 14.2c. Have a copy of it in your phone. in your local community associations, in schools, in private schools, primary schools, secondary schools, university. Make sure you all have it. The women forums, all of you must have this information, because you are sovereigns and you have been unaware of it. You've been unaware. As a sovereign, the powers you possess is more than what the Bible or the Quran can confer on you combined. You need to begin to exercise those powers. That's the point we're making here. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. When you get this broadcast, please share. Leave a comment, please. If you've shared it to people, those of you who have shared it, we are grateful. But you need to share it more, because the information that is contained, you can now see that unless we actively participate in our governance collectively on a consistent basis daily, using the powers of sovereignty you see on the screen, those in power will continue to loot. We must monitor their actions. That is where you come in. So please, share this broadcast. You are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I like you. It's a small button here, you see? Small button there. Just there. See there here? Just there. Let me see if you can see there. Just there. So why don't you just see? You see that green thing there? It says subscribe, hit the notification button, then give us a thumbs up. You see that? Yeah. Please go and do so on Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power, now on YouTube right now. Go and do so. And of course, let me give you a bigger reminder so that you can help us grow this platform and share this information. These are the kind of information we want to bring to you. You are powerful, you are a sovereign, and you have the powers to hold your governance to account. Now we want to teach you how you can use it collectively, consistently. But you need to share the information to our weekend. Each one teach one. When you wake up, wake your fellow citizen up, your fellow sovereign up. You're a sovereign. You must exercise those powers. Here we go. Please subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, and then of course give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up. One more time. We would like you to what? Subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, finally give us a thumbs up. So please do share the broadcast. Thank you once again to Refresh Nigeria for the great work they're doing. But right now, each and every one of us, we have a bigger task in front of us. That task is to make us all aware that we are sovereigns, as stated on the screen. Take a screenshot of the screen, share it in your family and friends. We translate it to Yoruba and Igbo and Hausa and Pidgin. We will share that shortly. But what we want you to do is to share this information. Make people be aware that we are sovereigns, and it is time we begin to use that sovereignty to hold our governance to account. The power of sovereignty is more powerful than the Bible and the Quran combined, because the Bible or the Quran confers no power to us, the citizens, to hold our governance to account. It weakens us, if anything else. This confers powers on us. Let us begin to use those powers. And then the changes we need to make to reform and review the Constitution, we can use these powers to push for that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. How do you find this broadcast? Leave a comment. Let's hear from you. Please do share. We do a lot of research and a lot of time and effort into our broadcast to give you the really important, truthful information. Remember, we are on Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We are here to speak truth, to enlighten you, to raise your awareness level, your consciousness, to be able to live. We're trying to empower you to take control of the narrative and the governance through monitoring, to ensure that you have the infrastructures in each of your local government areas, and monitor where the funds are going, and you have the power to direct where those funds are to be spent as a sovereign. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What we'd like you to do is to keep it locked on. Citizen AY. Keep it locked on. Citizen AY. Thank you. I'm back for now.